It's as you said to me in the prior to going live, this has been a long time coming. Yeah.
Yeah, about 15 years in waiting for you to interview me to get to this level of being a bit of a whistleblower. You describe your website as being the whistleblowers of Project Camelot, and I class myself as a covert witness here in the UK to some very strange goings on that are highly complex, that have been a lifetime in making. And it's just freaking wild, Kerry. And it's been the past, from the year 2014 to the current time of where we are now, is when things have really ramped the volume with the UFOs that began coming in over my house in 1999. And I had the childhood visuals and everything that went with that, all the strange goings on. And I'm stalked by the high strange. It follows me everywhere, and I'm a man who's trying to look for explanations as to why. I don't profess, Kerry, to be psychic, but I have had extraordinary paranormal and psychic experiences, and that's really it in a nutshell. So we can go. I feel that I'm among friends with you. And I feel that we could probably go very deep, in fact, much deeper than some of the other internet radios do. We'd probably go very deep with it in terms of ETs, Nordics, time continuum, all that kind of thing. Have no scientific background, no covert secrecy background, I'm a man who became embroiled in a very deep and complex situation that is still currently ongoing at the moment.
What you're saying is... Thank you. I appreciate the sort of willingness to go deep, as you call it, and I do want to say that Camelot is very accustomed to going deep, as they say.
Yes, you are. You are.
You're a great opportunity to go, at least in terms of what's happening to you, and to find out what kind of contact you're having, how it's sort of morphed over the years, I guess, and you call yourself a covert witness. I want to find out what you mean by that, and so we can kind of launch in that direction. What I'd like to start off with is sort of a short bio for yourself, how you would describe yourself, and so on. And let me say that Camelot doesn't just interview whistleblowers. We interview contactees. We interview researchers, investigators, and authors of all types in every subject. So there's no area of conspiracies we don't delve into, to my knowledge. And so just wanted to say that so there's some clarity there. But please tell us what you mean by covert witness, and also give us a background for the beginnings of your encounters, or whatever you want to call them.
In my definition, a covert witness is a witness to covert and strange goings-on and secrecy regarding strange phenomena that have happened in a domain where it is rigorously denied by the public, kept out of public view and kept out of the view of the governments, and not so much the government of we the people, if you could call it that. I have seen some very strange goings-on. I've been targeted for a number of years and neuro monitored as well, and it's not good, not good at all. It's not good at all, and so it's one of those situations that I've had to deal with all my life, and I think the term covert witness means that I have had individuals who have actually stalked me, who have followed me, who have done some of the most abominable things, and it's got pretty heavy going, and that's why I'm a covert witness. I've witnessed all this despite there being a denial to what is happening in the public domain. There is actually a denial.
Okay, fair enough. And can you now describe and it would help. I know that I don't know what kind of computer you're looking at, but if there's any way to sort of raise the computer so it's not looking quite at the ceiling as much.
Oh, sorry. All right, is that better for you?
More look at your face. That's better, I think.
Is that all right? Yeah. So it has. It's been one of those crazy hair-raising situations that I got myself into. At age 2, I started having some very strange visions and very strange goings on. It was how can I put it? 2 years of age, really, when I first had my first extreme paranormal experience, which involved two people walking through a wall at age 2. I was screaming at my father, saying, look at this, and pointing to them. And my father obviously didn't see anything, but my father was potently psychic. He would, in terms of telling me off as a child, instead of spanking me or hitting me to tell me off, he would lay me sparked out on the bed with a thumping headache. Such was his power. A lot of people find that very cruel, but that's what happened. And this kind of like this liaison with the strange would then follow me, and I dabble in the occult, and that all kind of like started. I started having strange dreams at the age of 8 as well about nuclear war and war, very vivid dreams of nuclear at age 8, which I didn't realise would be such an issue at now aged 45. And it's only in my 44th and 45th year that these experiences have really, really become apparent as to why they've been happening and to what they're there for. So my information actually comes from my experiences. And what is interesting is when you hear other people talk about their experiences, I'm listening for certain keywords, certain nuances that would make me listen to them because I'm in deep, and I can tell if somebody else is in deep by the nuances and the words that they're using to describe their contact with the UFOs. Your government, Kerry, is very in deep with the contact with UFOs, as is the United Kingdom government, but at levels that is beyond most people's comprehension, really. It's happening all the time. And I think in terms of disclosure, you're probably talking about a 150-year process. It is as if the UFO situation and the evolution of mankind will only go at the rate nature allows it to. It will only go at a slow time rate. This appears to be apparent with the people in the UFOs who I have witnessed. It appears to be that kind of thing going on, and it can get hair-raising. For example, at 4 o'clock this morning, there was something going on, which I won't go into immediate details about, and the reason for that is because the quality of information is all very good, being the narcissist and saying, oh yes, and they came into the room and they did this, they did that, and aren't I brilliant and all that. No, you've got to really wait for the quality of information. So for example, they were active this morning. I ain't got a clue why they were active this morning or what they were doing. They were blonde type again, but they were active. And I'm not sure why they were doing what they were doing, but they were simply active. They are currently active in the airspace of the UK at the moment as well in their UFOs. That's another story, but there you go.
Okay. Now I want to slow you down just a minute here. So I want to get back to your bio before we kind of launch into what's going on right now around you.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you having some issue in your room or something like that right now?
Just a moment. Jack, just shut the door, mate, would you please? If you wouldn't mind. Good lad. Thank you. That's he means, oh bless you, lovely little lad. Yeah, no, there we go, mate. So yeah, my bio. Yeah, so I kind of like steer me back on track, Kerry, because sometimes I'll go off at a tangent. My biography. Yeah. So what happens is I'm one of the UK's. I'll work backwards with my bio. I'm one of the UK's leading unorthodox lone wolf contributors in the subject of UFOs and the strange, high strange, due to my experiences. My driving engine that led me to the attention of the media is because I had UFOs and unmarked helicopters film me, and I also had people follow me and stalk me who are belonging to an illegal covert agency that it's acting without jurisdiction or without electoral diktat as to what it does. It's not overseen by anyone. It's a cover-up. So I blundered straight into that.
Yourself, okay, slow down, because you do talk very rapidly. So I'm going to try to slow you down at intervals, just because it's going to sound a little confusing to the listener, and I'm listening to you, not so much for myself, but for the audience to help understand a chronology, why you are where you are today, and so that, if they don't know your work, if they don't know what you've put out there already, they can get a good introduction to you here. And so that's why I will slow you down at times. What I wanted to ask you is I am aware, I travel to the UK quite often. I'm also aware that there is, basically they've made it rather illegal to, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, to talk about being a contactee. Is that right?
Not that I know of. What you might get is a situation under extremist laws where somebody somewhere in security organisation A doesn't like what member of the public B is saying, and that is the scenario I could be faced with. I could have somebody somewhere who doesn't like what I'm saying for whatever reason, and then carts on the anti-terror extremism laws in order to justify trying to shut people up like myself. What I say is in the public interest, and I think just rewinding what happened was, Kerry, in my biography, that in '92 I had a UFO coming over my house that looked like 1992, that looked like something out of Close Encounters. I went to stage school, left stage school, and had strange incidents with UFOs over the skies of London that I could not comprehend why, and it was happening in St Mary Cray in Kent, so I've been followed by them, and it was very bizarre, and I returned to...
Let's stop you right there. And so in 1992,
yeah.
You were I assume young, quite young. Were you?
I was 20. I was 21, and I was auditioning for London stage schools to be an actor and a dancer.
Okay. Because some people don't know. Yeah, people don't know what London Stage School. They might not know what that reference is.
The Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, Academy of Live and Recorded Arts.
And was that the first time that you were aware of UFOs, or did you have earlier encounters?
No, it was the first time I was aware of UFOs, and I could not understand why that was going on. I had no idea why it was going on.
Can we delve into that incident just specifically? Just what happened? In other words, you just saw a craft above your house. Was that the end of the incident, or
yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. What happened was, Kerry, I was coming back from rehearsals. We were rehearsing a musical in the local town of Selby, North Yorkshire, where I live, and this UFO appeared for approximately 15 seconds over the rooftop of my home, and it was like something out of Close Encounters. It was illuminated. It had lights on it. It was not an aircraft. It was just above the house, and I was deeply shocked by it. I mean, really deeply shocked. So I kind of like.
And after that, it sounds like after that you had other incidents start to happen. Do you want to talk about like a chronology, if you can?
Yeah. Okay, so what happened then, Kerry, is that the situation occurred where nothing actually happened, oddly as that may seem. From 1992, nothing happened. At all, of any interest at all. I went to stage school. I got an audition at a top London theatre school. It's not easy to get into one of them. You have to be talented, and I got in. Much to the grunting and groaning of my father, we didn't have a good relationship there, and he just said, "Oh well, son, that's all very good, but why don't you stay at your local town?" But I wanted to explore the world, Kerry, so I went to stage school, and nothing of interest happened at stage school on the UFO front. It wasn't until I left stage school and did acting work here and acting work there, and got a part-time job in Ladbroke Grove in London that strange things started to happen in 1996, whereby I was walking down the street in a place called Parade Street in Paddington, and I saw a very small dot of light UFO. Well, I thought it was an aircraft, just appear heading on collision course with a block of flats. There was a fire engine just in front of me.
Okay. A block of flats, meaning houses. In other words, it was
houses, block of flats.
You thought it was a UFO, or you thought it was an airplane about to collide with?
I thought it was it was a UFO, but I thought it was an airplane about to collide into the block of flats. I ran forward to the fire engine. By the time I'd looked, it had vanished. It actually vanished. This thing. And that was the start of a chain of events that would take me into the most deepest, blackest, darkest paranormal experiences, and the most fascinating. I would lose everything and I would gain everything as well in terms of the knowledge, but that's not where we're at. We're jumping forward. You want the chronology. So and I returned. I kind of started having these strange goings on where these little dots of light UFOs were following me everywhere I went. They would follow me. When I was in a place called St Mary Cray in Kent, they'd come over the little house I was staying at. The dog I was looking after would go berserk, and it was very bizarre. And it all started in the room where I heard a voice say, "Can you not shut that dog up?" somebody said in the room, and I thought, what the hell's all that about? And I fell on hard times. And I went back to Yorkshire, I moved back to Yorkshire. I was sleeping on friends' floors. I was nearly homeless in London, so I went back to Yorkshire in '96, and that's when it started. That's really, Kerry, when it started in July '96. I'm stood in my back garden, minding my own business. Two balls of light just appear from nowhere and merge as one. There was this giant orange flash that woke my mother up, and she leaned out the window and said, "What was that?" And then something flashed to my right and just went, "Hello." An entity, something like that. And I was in shock for days. Just wandered around in shock for weeks even, trying to fathom out what the hell was going on. Further down the line, I'd have full-blown interface with them. But for now, in '96, that's what was going on, Kerry. Yeah, so that's where we're at currently for your listeners. '96 is where it's at. And then kind of like it escalated to about '97. We'll take it to '97, where I'm still baffled by the events. I can't understand it. I still can't understand why I'm targeted to this date, but that's jumping chronology.
Did you start investigating about UFOs on the internet, or had you been doing any of that?
Right. Well, this is important because what happens is, Kerry, is that I started having. Just stick with the chronology. In '97, I saw my first kind of female extraterrestrial in '97, which deeply shocked me. The shock of that is they don't look like us, but they do. If you could imagine you, Kerry, the same skin tone, but a little brighter, the face more pointed, blue eyes, blonder hair, looking back at you and saying, "Hello, how do I look?" Across, let us say, the landscape, we'll just say for now, we'll keep it simple. She appeared in the landscape that we dream in. We all dream at night. We imagine somebody walking into that landscape and saying, "Hello, how are you? I'm not human," and walking off again, and you're thinking, good God. And what that's connected, this event is actually connected, Kelly, because then it started in about 1999, if we're going with the chronology. I'm still baffled by these events, can't understand what's going on, and then all hell breaks loose in 1999, because it would appear that I'm being watched, and somebody somewhere knows what's going on before I do. And that's when it started with the phone calls, the unmarked helicopter, and the UFO coming in over my house, literally, which is connected, I think, to the same lady who said hello to me in the dreamscape. And that triggers a further doorway now for your listeners into further events with me. So we're at the stage of the UFO coming in over my house in 1999, which triggered it all, just triggered. All hell broke loose. It was shocking.
I appreciate the reference, but what really do you mean by all hell broke loose?
Right. It's a good one, is that, Kerry? Yeah. You're asking the right questions, which makes a change because there are some presenters who don't ask the right questions. As I had my misfortune to come across a few weeks ago, but that's another story. So what we've got, Kerry, is we've got a situation occur. I'll take it from the basics, where the UFO came in over my house in 1999, and it illuminated a TV antenna. For no apparent reason, it did it twice, but they never do anything for no apparent reason. They're doing some things for a specific reason. It's like looking at the intergalactic equivalent of NATO. They turn up, and they not always, never turn up without reason, but they turned up. They illuminated a TV antenna, and flew off again. And the situation with that was it went for imagery analysis, and it was a UFO. It has been confirmed that it was indeed a UFO. Now, that triggered a series of events where I started getting phone calls to my house, and I started getting followed. Not only did I start getting followed, Kerry, and this is the bit where we now go into it now, I started being neurally monitored by the most horrendous mind control effects. Your listeners, you probably are familiar with it, Kerry. Your listeners might not be familiar with something called control effects. And I was targeted in the UK by a specific control effects unit. The thing, I will just say this as well, is that I wish to differentiate between the people in our national security apparatus who are protecting the country and the public as compared to deep black, non-accountable individuals who are having their own secrecy empires, especially around the secrecy of UFOs. And it's been absolutely frigging appalling. What I was subjected to was what could only be described as being targeted by a Dr. Strangelove goon squad of men and women who appeared to find it all very amusing that they could deploy this mind-invasive technology on me while little knowing what they were getting into with me, which is the interesting thing. I find it very interesting that they were very naive. They didn't know. They knew a bit, but they didn't know enough as to what they were getting into with me. I've discovered this only recently in the past few months as all this come to fruition. But basically, Kelly, listen,
Okay.
I was tortured by them.
Okay,
It was
when
horrendous.
you say you were tortured, okay,
Yeah.
slow down. I'm sorry. When you say you were tortured, how did it manifest? What were the actual things that you felt or saw?
Well, for example, a popular thing they would do is wake you up for work on a morning with an alarm clock ringing in your head. So I would be working 12-hour shifts, and at 5:45 on a morning, they'd ring an alarm clock if I was asleep, literally in my head, and your whole body would vibrate with the sound of the alarm clock. Another thing that they would do is they would do defecation effects while laid in the bed, gunfire, screaming. An incident happened in January 2001, which I thought I would never get up from. I thought I was going to die, actually, because they hammered me that hard with this technology, and it was similar to the music from Hitchcock's shower scene of Psycho, and the stabbing motion of being stabbed in the head continually, violently stabbed in the head. What is even more shocking, Kerry, is that this Dr. Strangelove guy he would also relax you while doing it and make you feel that you were enjoying it while he was doing it in order to absolutely traumatize you. So my driving engine is all about the man and his Dr. Strangelove unit that targeted me, and it's been an ongoing covert war.
Wait 1 second, because I just want to delve into this a little bit. So you're saying you had this. I'm not sure what you're saying. You're saying you actually saw a person doing this to you, or you had this happen in your dream?
What it is, Kerry, is that you have in the United Kingdom and perhaps in America a UFO secret police. You have a secret police that enforces silence upon anyone who is deemed to talk about this subject in a very open way, like I do. Stephen Bassett has commented on it. A few other people have commented. Even love him or hate him, Dr. Stephen Greer has been hit. You have been hit by the very effects that I am speaking about. You know that territory. And they're an unaccountable, disgraceful goon squad who do not serve the greater good and protection of the public, but seem to serve their own agenda. And it was driven, as I say, by one man in particular who had a habit. They do the covert surveillance, so they do the overt surveillance. The overt surveillance they found very amusing, because what they would do is they'd leave answering machine messages detailing where I'd just walked out of. If I'd walked out of a shop, there'd be an answering machine message, but it would be a conversation between two people about where I'd just left or where I'd come out of.
So they were leaving you messages on your phone. Is that what?
Not directly, Kerry. It was referring to, for example, I see he's come out the shop again. He's laden with shopping. Yeah, he's putting on weight. I bet he doesn't get enough sleep. This kind of thing. Coming over an answering machine message. Overt. Covert would be subtle nuances to you as you're walking past someone. This guy was adept. This guy I'm speaking of, who was responsible for the mind-invasive stuff, was adept at waking me up at all hours with all kinds of effects, including waking me up at 3, 4 in the morning to go to the toilet, which was absolutely horrifying, Kerry, but believe me when I say that I have risen above all this. So I don't want your listeners to get into the fear factor with me and see that, because a few years ago I'd talk about this and I'd be going, they did this, they did that, they did the other. Fear, drama. But now we're lifting away from it, you see.
So I want to get back to the thing where you were talking about sort of the stabbing thing. How did this happen? Was this physical in the physical world, or was this something that happened in the astral?
It wasn't even the astral, Kerry. It was an advanced neural weapon that they were testing of some description. There is no way it could have happened in the astral. It was a control effect, possibly delivered by scalar sound wave, microwave. Right. Definitely delivered, neurally monitored into the... you had an incident, didn't you? You were telling me in an email where something happened to you. That didn't happen. That happened fully in the physical, didn't it?
It manifested physically, but what I'm kind of getting at, just for the people that are listening, that when you describe this sort of stabbing thing, were you sleeping when it happened? Were you in sort of half sleep, half awake?
No, I was in. It was 4 and 3 in the morning when they do their stuff, which is the best time really. So I was asleep at the time it happened and could not wake up from what they were doing, and then I suddenly woke up.
All right.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
Let me just say to the listeners, actually, that I know this is something that a lot of people are going through, actually. And I have had people contact me with similar things. And there are people who have written about this extensively, also in Britain. And there are teams of people that do target individuals. And they do actually try to, in essence, what you might say is make them go crazy. Yeah? So in a sense, it sounds like you were one of those targeted individuals. It sounds like they were trying to disturb your, what they call, REM sleep and all this kind of thing, and putting sort of images and thoughts and various things into your head. And it appears that you were in somewhat of a vulnerable situation in which you could not protect yourself from this invasion. At the same time, you were having ET or interdimensional sort of contact experiences. Yes.
That's absolutely right, and you see, Kerry, you've roughly got it. You've got the gist of what's going on. Probably you lightly discussed that, but you probably understand it far deeper. Yes, that's correct. That's exactly what was going on, and it got very, very hair raising at one point in the proceedings, and it's very worrying.
Let me ask you this. In some people's stories along these lines, I remember one specifically, and I can't remember his name, but I can't remember if I've interviewed him off the record or on the record, because I do so many interviews. But I can tell you that he was British, and he was telling me that he actually, I don't know whether he committed himself or he was committed. He somehow ended up in like a mental hospital during this time when he was being targeted. Or a hospital setting. Did you ever get into one of those situations?
No, I've never been in one of those situations, Kerry, and the things that are lumbering over my house at the moment, it would appear, I think, the goon squad that would attempt to do incarceration had better think twice before they do, because it would appear I'm a man who's involved with somebody else, involved with the smarter opponents. They played a game, did these people, they played the dice, they knew a bit of knowledge, they played the game with me, but they played a smarter opponent, it would appear, and I'm very pleased to say that, because I want the individual man who I believe was responsible, I want him to firm at the mouth, and I want to deliver the quality of information that is required. I have no doubt, Kerry, here in the UK, that this scenario may happen, where I may come across it, where I may come across such a scenario where they attempt that because of the changes in the law and all that kind of thing. But there'll be one hell of a firefight if they do, because there is human rights, the right to freedom of speech, the right to opinion, and the rights, of course, to religious expression. And I have always differentiated, between protection of the public and the people who targeted me, which is an entirely different ball game altogether.
Now, why? Can you tell us why you're saying you're sort of selecting a certain man as being responsible? Did you meet this man?
Yeah, I did, Kerry. The thing is, Kerry, is that another thing of my control is that I suffer from mental exhaustion as well. It stalks me all the time. Therefore, sometimes I may forget what I've said.